Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Abundant Mind. I believe it's episode 8, which is really exciting. Can't believe we're already here. Um, I don't even know what I'm going to title today's episode, but it's going to be all about gratitude. And I know I've talked a lot about gratitude already in my podcast, but this episode is directly going to be focused about gratitude. And shout out to my homie Brent that recommended I talk about this because gratitude is honestly it's such a vast topic, and this is not going to be like the last time I talk about it, or like this like an end all be all episode about gratitude. But gratitude is just, for me at least, just to kind of preface this episode, gratitude is probably one of the most important aspects of my life. It's changed my life immensely, and I know others that practice gratitude on a daily basis also live a more fulfilling life. Where to begin? What even is gratitude? Being grateful. It's counting your blessings. What do you have right now in your life? Being appreciative of the little things. Being appreciative of your friends and your family. Having a roof over your head. Having a job. Being able to eat. Gratitude it stems from a state of abundance, and it really does correlate into my podcast's name heavily, having an abundant mind. I'll dive a lot deeper into that, how gratitude ties into having an abundant mind, how having an abundant mind ties into gratitude. I guess to give you some background on why you should even listen to me about gratitude. So I started practicing gratitude daily about 3+ years ago. And I had learned a decent amount about gratitude. I knew about it. I kind of thought it was silly sometimes to like think about being grateful for like the roof over my head or being able to eat. I kind of just didn't see value in that. It just seemed so like fake to me. And I'd watched videos online about gratitude and such, and it wasn't like there was any specific thing I learned about gratitude on the internet where I was like, okay, I need to do this and incorporate it into my life. I kind of just woke up one day and started a little gratitude practice when I was walking my dog in the morning. And it started off with about like 30 seconds of gratitude every day. And it slowly has turned into 10+ minutes in the morning of me practicing gratitude while I'm walking my dog, to the point where there are many moments in the day where I just take a moment to be grateful for where I am, for what I am experiencing. The more I invest myself into practicing gratitude on a daily basis in more depth, even practicing gratitude in my journaling, the more I practice gratitude, the more at peace I am. I feel way more abundant. I feel way more whole. I feel so much more love. And whenever I go into times where, and we all have down periods in our life, like I just had like a kind of mini downswing for like 2 months. Um, Nothing major or anything, but I wasn't practicing gratitude to the same extent. And I kind of realized that. I was like, wow, I'm not really counting my blessings. I'm not practicing gratitude like I was before. And then I just kind of started with one day. I practiced it a little bit more and then a little bit more. And I was just being grateful for taking the next step to maybe clean up my life in a certain aspect, whether it was just picking up some clothes or dog toys off my floor to tidy up my space. It may have not seemed like a lot, but I started counting being grateful that I did that. Like, good job. Like good job, Jared. Like I'm grateful that you did that. And the day by day effect, the compounded effect of practicing gratitude is immense. It's it's actually it's like it's so profound once you have that compounded effect of gratitude. The state of being in gratitude is, it's such a high vibratory state. When I've had moments where I'm in deep despair and sadness, I have in a way forced myself to practice gratitude. And it's not that I was not acknowledging my feelings or emotions or not validating them. I started to discount, like, think about everything that I'm grateful for. And even though I might be in a lot of pain right now, I'm grateful to be in this experience because I know that it's all happening for me. And at the end of the day, it's not like my life's over or anything. It's interesting how fast that you could be in such a low vibratory state. You can be such a low state, and you can just start a gratitude practice, and your literal energy levels start to rise rapidly in a organic way that feels so, it's so full of love. And I right now, like, you can probably hear some of the passion I'm speaking from. It's speaking from this remembrance of moments when I've done this. Like, gratitude is almost like a, I don't know if a drug, but it's one of, like, the most powerful emotions I feel like a human can feel. I would I'm not like, sometimes some of these it's the human language in general, English. I don't know if it's gratitude an actual emotion we feel. I do believe to an extent it is an emotion. Gratitude, or maybe it's not an emotion, but gratitude sparks great emotion in your body. How does it feel when you truly do feel grateful for the friends you have in your life, your lover, your parents, your job, your cat, your dog, whatever it is? You feel really whole. You feel really connected. And gratitude, it actually, I feel like it's like the glue. Like we need, like it it's interesting because there can be people that are way more well off than you in terms of maybe success, with whether it may be by perceived success in finances or accolades. They might be leaps and bounds farther ahead of you. Externally, it might look like that, but a lot of those people don't practice gratitude, and all they want is more, more, and more. They never feel like it's enough. And there's lots of studies done on, like, richer people that are more well off, having being less fulfilled, and people that actually have less being more fulfilled because they're grateful for everything they have right now. Just being able to have a family dinner with their extended family, and maybe they're all struggling. They don't shine the light on what they don't have. They shine the light on what they do have. And it's very powerful to do that. It really is. And I wanna share an analogy with you guys. So I feel like, so gratitude, it really does tie into abundance. It really does, because when we're able to be grateful for everything we have now, and it actually feels like it's more than enough. So I'll give you an example here. Or it's not really an example, it's my life. There's not many people that listen to my podcast, the actual episodes. Um, but I'm immensely grateful for the few people that do listen to my podcast right now. And it might sound crazy hearing this, but it feels like it's more than enough. I feel so grateful that there are actually some people that take their time out of their day to listen to my podcast. And I'm just, it warms my heart. Honestly, it really does warm my heart. And I don't know where this podcast will take me, but I do know I have more than enough right now. And I'm just, like, super grateful to even have the opportunity to film this podcast, the fact that I was able to afford the equipment to film a podcast, the fact that I'm in a spot in my life that I feel like I'm able to provide my own stories and lessons to others and actually have an impact on others. Like, I'm so grateful that I can impact others in a positive way. One of my really good friends that listens to this podcast, he told me that my mindset about having an abundant mind changed his life. And hearing things like that, it's like, that's what pushes me to keep going. It's each individual that I'm able to impact on a deep level. For me, it's never been about how many people I can impact. It's more on how deep can I impact one single person. And it's interesting, you probably could find podcasters that have 10,000 times the amount of viewership of me, but are not grateful because they're seeking more. They don't feel like it's enough. And I don't blame people like that are seeking more. I've been in that state. And I do believe that is partially due to society where there's just so much comparing with social media, um, that your brain can just compare without you even knowing. Like, it's this comparison can just happen very quickly. And it doesn't really like lead to anything good, comparing yourself to others, because comparison is a thief of joy. So the reason I brought up this own personal example about being grateful for what you have now is just to show you I do preach what I talk about. I do preach what I talk about. I don't talk about anything on here that I don't believe to my core. And gratitude is being grateful. Gratitude is this, it's just life changing. It's just life changing. Honestly, once you start to experience the wonders of the world, once you can actually appreciate what you have now, because it's like the pursuit of happiness. If you pursue happiness, it'll always be in front of you. You'll get that thing, you'll accomplish that thing, and you'll be happy for a bit, but then you'll want more. People that are in the pursuit of happiness are not grateful people. And if they do say they're grateful, it's bullshit, in my opinion. It's bullshit, in my opinion. So, kind of going back to this, I said I was going to tell you an analogy, and I'm going to finally tell you it. It's called the leaky pot. And I would say the leaky pot is kind of like someone who's in the pursuit of happiness, someone who's not grateful for. They don't practice gratitude. Now, imagine a pot that has a bunch of holes in it. No matter how much water you fill in that pot, it will continue to leak, and you will never feel fulfilled if it's always leaking. You can always pour more into it, and you might feel good for a bit, but it's always going to pour away. It's always going to leak out. Someone that practices gratitude is a pot with no holes. I'm not saying they're perfect, but like, just imagine it for analogy, for the sake of this analogy. So imagine a pot with no holes. They're pouring water into the pot, and it's not pouring out. They're grateful for everything they get to experience right now. And it gets to a point where the water starts to overflow out of the pot, and they're in this state of overflow. And that's what happens when you can be grateful for everything you have right now. You will eventually get to a state of overflow where it feels like it's more than enough, and getting this infinite, ever and never ending amount of abundance. And abundance doesn't have to be monetary. Abundance can come in the form of so many different things: your physical health, your mental well-being. There's so many different things. Like, when I talk about abundance, having an abundant mind is not about being rich through capitalistic assets. That's not it. I believe a lot of people, when they hear abundance, they almost think about super like wealthy things, like the rich having like homes and cars. But it's not that. Like those are just like physical manifestations that can come from abundance. Can, but I don't know which super rich person I saw on TikTok talk about this, but they're very well off. They probably are like 100 million net worth, and they say like they don't like you can only drive one car, you can only sleep in one bed, you can only have one watch. So at some point, if you're buying multiple of those things, you can only use one at a time. So like what's the point of having more than one? Like one is more than enough. And I really do respect people, like I admire really rich people that say things like that, because you can see that they figured out it for themselves, because they could go buy 10 cars, buy 10 houses, but it's never going to create a feeling of fulfillment. Like you'll never feel like it's enough, because you're like, I want more. I need a new shiny car. I need a new paint job. I need a new house on the beach. But when you can actually just appreciate what you have right now and what you can actually use, it's the internal feeling that you'll have. It's not the external things that you do have. And I do believe everyone can get to the state of having an abundant mind, no matter what your finances are. Finances aren't everything to everyone. I believe that some people can have an abundant mind and live in such a state of abundance and gratitude and appreciation. And maybe they travel the world helping people in need, and they don't have a lot of money for themselves, but they have just enough. And it's actually more than enough to give them the ability to do what they love. I hope I hope that my thoughts have made enough sense in this podcast, because I didn't plan any of this, what I'm talking about. I didn't write anything down on a whiteboard. I really just wanted to speak from the heart about gratitude. And I'm glad that I have chosen this path for this episode. So another thing with gratitude, it's you can find moments in your day to practice gratitude in ways that you probably wouldn't even have thought of. It could be you're out on a walk and you're seeing nature. It could be in the mountains and there's a nice fall breeze that hits your skin, and it's a little brisk. And in that moment, you can appreciate that you're able to experience this beauty and be grateful that you're here in this body, in this moment, experiencing this, because that is a gift. It's a gift. It's a gift to wake up every day to experience another day on earth. And not all days are going to be great, because if all days were great, how would you even define a great day? We're meant to have bad days. It's just part of the human experience. It's part of life. Life's not easy. It's actually pretty hard, but I feel like since life is hard, that's what makes the amazing times just so much better, when you can just really appreciate those good moments. One thing too, I just want to say, like, if you don't practice gratitude, don't be hard on yourself. Like, don't guilt yourself into practicing gratitude. Don't guilt yourself into doing anything. Um, Not that guilt is a bad thing, but guilting yourself into doing things is just not, it's not a great way to go about things. And one thing I do want to say, it's always best to start small with anything. It really is, because if you don't do something, you can't just expect to go practice gratitude for like 30 minutes, like in a day. Like if you don't practice gratitude actively, just start with like 30 seconds. Look around in your room. Like, what are you grateful for? I have this, I have that, I have the ability to go do this. I have food to eat. I have a roof over my head. And then it can start to expand. I'm grateful for the fact that my heart beats every day miraculously, pumping blood through my body, and that my lungs are able to take in oxygen and allow and provide oxygen throughout my whole body so that I can live. Like, my body is a living miracle. It really is. And I remember when I first started to be grateful for how my body just lives. I at first thought it was kind of weird and like almost cheesy. It almost felt like insincere. But when I actually start to like really honor my body and be grateful for the fact that it's providing me this vessel to be here, I feel like I started to build such a deeper connection with my body. And it's like gratitude, it's like a doorway to experiencing more in life. It really is, because I feel like you experience such a lesser version of reality when you don't practice gratitude. It's almost like a surface level experience, but when you can actually start to incorporate gratitude into your daily routine, I feel like it starts to expand the experience here on earth. Anyways, I think I want to tie up my thoughts there. I'm really grateful that you were here listening to this episode. And I don't know where you are in life, but I hope whatever you're doing, that it works out in your favor, and I'm sure it will. And just keep going at it. Just keep waking up every day, doing whatever you need to do, and things will work out. I know it's not always clear how things will work out, but if you can just have that faith that it will, I'm sure everything will work out in your favor, better than you could have ever expected. Anyways, my name is Jared Smith, and I'll see you next time I record an episode of The Abundant Mind. Have a great day. Bye.